and then take some of your questions. And directly thereafter, we'll have some questions also for the Italian media on my right, your left. High Representative, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back in the occasion of the NPT Review Conference. My presence here was already planned today for addressing the conference, but I also took the chance of starting the follow-up of the European Council we had last Thursday, where the heads of state and government of the European Union discussed the tragedies that are happening in the Mediterranean, linked to the trafficking and smuggling of people across the Mediterranean, but also all the way through Africa, and in most cases from places of the world like Syria or the Horn of Africa, where their life is put at risk. So I've had discussions about that today with the EU permanent representatives of the countries that are sitting in the Security Council, Lithuania, that is taking the presidency of the Security Council from Friday, Spain, UK, and France. I'll meet also the Italian permanent representative later on, with the Russian permanent representative, and I'll meet Samantha Power tomorrow in Washington, and also Secretary Kerry, not only on this, but also on this. And I will be visiting China next week, where this issue will also be part of my talks. This is also an opportunity for me to meet Foreign Minister Zarif, that is, as you know, in town tonight on the nuclear talks after the solutions we found in Switzerland less than 1 month ago on proceeding our talks to find an agreement. And I'm confident that we can proceed with the good work. As you know, the work on redrafting the text of the agreement has restarted after many months on the basis of the solutions we found in Switzerland altogether. I will also have a bilateral meeting with Pavlo Klimkin, the Foreign Minister of Ukraine, after the positive summit that was held between the European Union and Ukraine yesterday in Kiev. And I hope I don't forget any part of my program, which is a very dense and rich one, and for the moment, a very fruitful one. I'm ready for your questions.
Louis Charbonneau, Reuters.
Thank you. Hi, Commissioner. In your meeting with Foreign Minister Zarif, do you think you'll be able to smooth over some of the disagreements on the timing of lifting sanctions and some of the other areas that have proven to be sticking points and will be proving to be sticking points? And might the issue of the seizure of the ship today by Iranian forces come up? And on the question of an EU mandate for military operations off of Libya, do you have any sense of when that could be pushed through at the Security Council? Any sense of the timing and details on that would be nice. Thanks.
In my meetings with Zarif tonight, for sure, the issue you mentioned is something I will raise, and I will also discuss that with Secretary Kerry tomorrow, obviously to get more information on the dynamic and obviously to raise the concern about that. And we will for sure go through all the points that we still have to finalize in view of a final agreement by the end of June. And I expect that we can have a fruitful conversation about this after our teams have already restarted the work in these days and are going to have a drafting session later this week. On the creation of an international framework, of a legal framework for fighting traffickers and smugglers of people, we also had a very useful conversation with Secretary General Ban Ki-moon together with Prime Minister Renzi yesterday in Sicily. It's not for the European Union to set the UN Security Council time framework. The EU is not sitting in the Security Council, as you know very well. So it's not for me to comment on the next steps. What I can say is that we're working in Brussels and in strong coordination with the European Union members of the Security Council to make sure that our planning, our options that are being prepared in Brussels go hand in hand with the discussions that can be made in the Security Council, but not only with the European Union members, also with others. I think I mentioned the fact that I just met the Jordanian permanent representative, not only as president of the Council, but also as an Arab country that has a lot to say when it comes to the stability and the security of the region, and also the African Union. I spoke with the President of the African Union, Mrs. Zuma, this morning to find ways of cooperating strongly in preventing the criminal organizations to act on the African territory and to address the root causes of the phenomenon. Because we know very well that we cannot focus only on one of the links of the chain, meaning the last part of the trip, but we have to address the root causes. We have to address the issue of poverty, of wars, of human rights, of unequal distribution and access to resources, being it financial or other kind of resources, and we need to do it in partnership with the countries that are involved in this, because this is clearly the human trafficking, smuggling is clearly a violation of human rights, but it's also clearly a threat and a challenge for the security and the stability of all countries involved all the way. It's not only a European issue, it's not only a Libyan issue, even if we are looking at finding ways of cooperating with all Libyans to face this threat and to find ways of working together in preventing this spreading even more in their territory. But we need to work in cooperation with our partners around the region and around the world for sure. So not for me to set up a time frame for the UN Security Council to work, but for sure to make sure that the European Union work in this is coordinated and is fully in respect of international law. On this, let me also say that I spoke with Antonio Guterres on Sunday to start coordinating even more closely because our main objective is to save lives. Saving lives also means take care of the people we save. And in this, we look for a strong partnership with the UNHCR, and it would be good to see the UNHCR operating in all places through which the smuggling and trafficking of people takes place.
Thank you. Can you say, again, on this migrant smuggling question, can you say how soon your enforcement operations will begin, which countries will participate, and any details on how this enforcement effort will be underway?
The way in which we will proceed now, I was tasked last Thursday to start preparation for possible operations by the European Union in full respect of international law, which means that we will need in any case to have a legal basis before we start operations on a European Union level. In the meantime, we are preparing options for a mission, for an operation. The process would be obviously first for me to present options to the ministers, for them to take decisions in the EU are taken by unanimity, 28, and then it will be up to single member states to decide whether and in which way they can participate to the operation. So we have different phases. Preparation has already started on Thursday itself, the very same day. We are having the first sharing of discussion and thinking with the member states in these very same hours. And we are working rapidly, but still rapidly in the context of the European Union proceedings means definitely not a couple of days. Also because in the meantime, as I said, we need to make sure that we have a framework of international legality in which we want to operate. There's nothing we are going to do that is outside of the framework of work together with the UN or in partnership with the Libyan authorities. I will have a meeting shortly also with Bernardino Leon to see ways in which we can even more support his efforts to find an agreement in Libya, because we know that we have to partner with Libya, with all Libyans in this. And let me stress it very much, because I know that the messaging might have been perceived in a, let's say, in a nuanced way. I want to make it very clear. There is nothing the European Union is preparing or thinking of that is to be intended against the Libyan people or the Libyan authorities in all their complexity. What we want to do is to work with Libyans on their own security, on their own possibility of freeing their country of criminal and also terrorist networks that are proliferating at this time. So it's a partnership we're looking for.
Okay. Thank you. Would you please tell us whether the EU support a resolution from the Security Council and the creation of a maritime force that deal with the issue of trafficking people across the Mediterranean and with the flow of arms inside and outside Libya? Thank you.
The content of my talks here today has been on the first part of your question, absolutely yes, how we can stop the trafficking organizations at sea. Not only at sea, let me say, because if you take 5 minutes and look at the statement of the European Council, there is this task for me, but there is also the task of working on other aspects of the prevention and the fight against trafficking organizations, namely the work we will increase with Niger, with Mali, with the other neighboring countries of Libya, Tunisia, Egypt, Algeria, not to focus only on the last part of the trip, but also on the rest of the security we need to build. So yes, this is definitely part of my mandate. This is definitely part of my talks that for the moment have been very constructive, I would say.
Ms. Mogherini, I know you have a lot on your agenda, but is Syria also part of your discussions? The United Nations has invited Iran to be part of a possible Geneva III. When you meet the foreign minister of Iran, will you talk about Syria and Yemen with him as well?
The main issue for our discussions tonight will be, as always, the nuclear talks. We have a lot on the agenda there. But every time that we meet, I also take the chance of discussing with Foreign Minister Zarif the regional situation, the regional crisis, the many regional crises that we have open, and also the possible role that Iran can play in a constructive way to find political solutions to the crisis, especially in Syria. Let me say that I fully support the efforts of Staffan de Mistura that I know he presented here yesterday in the Security Council. The European Union is fully supporting politically and also concretely his work. And I hope that finally we can find an end to a conflict that we're getting used to, but is dramatic in terms of humanitarian consequences and regional consequences in the area. And obviously, yes, we will discuss also Yemen.
Do you sense Iran would like a role in Syria? Do you think Iran is ready to discuss a political situation, a role in political solution in Syria?
To discuss, for sure. we had the discussion already. To discuss, for sure. The point is finding ways in which Iran can contribute towards a political solution of the war crisis in Syria, and finding a way of having a truly Syrian-led transition in the country.
What are you asking of Iran, madam? What are you exactly asking of Iran to do in Syria? What are you exactly asking them to contribute? And how are you reassuring the Arab countries who really think that Iran is part of the Syrian problem and therefore that shouldn't be part of the solution? President Obama is calling leaders to Camp David. I see the Europeans doing nothing, not even about the refugees from Syria, because the burden is being borne by Lebanon and Jordan. So please, can you tell us what the European Union is doing on all that, Iran's role, the refugees, and reassuring the Arabs?
On the refugees, I just discussed this with the permanent representative of Jordan. I was visiting the camps in Jordan myself and also in Lebanon. I know very well the huge number of refugees that Jordan and Lebanon in particular, but also Turkey, are hosting. Let me say the European Union member states are participating in the resettlement of the refugees that are currently in Jordan, and Lebanon and Turkey. In my personal opinion, we could and should do more, and this is going to be one of the issues we will further discuss with the heads of state and government. In this respect, you know very well, it is not for the European Union, but for the European member states to take more responsibility, and I'm always encouraging them. And actually, I'm always making the point that while we discuss about the Europeans' efforts and challenges in welcoming a huge number of migrants and asylum seekers on our territory, we have also to look at the numbers of Arab countries that are hosting and welcoming enormous amounts of refugees themselves. On Iran, our main contribution is, as it is very clear, in facilitating the nuclear talks. This is the main task I have, even personally. This has its background in a UN Security Council resolution that indicated the High Representative of the European Union as the facilitator of the talks, so I see it as my main task to make sure that the negotiations proceed in a speedy and a good way. Good way means that Iran cannot develop a nuclear weapon and can have its right to develop a nuclear peaceful program as everybody else, which I believe would be a very important contribution to the security of the region and the stability of the region. Then I'm also convinced that this could lead the way, open the way to a different role of Iran in the region. I understand very well the concerns of many Arab countries, and not only Arab countries in the region, on the role of Iran. But I am also convinced that it would be naive to imagine that a country like Iran could simply disappear from the map. And the best possible approach you can have is, for sure, on one side, have a positive outcome of the nuclear talks so that we can make sure that they cannot develop a nuclear weapon. And on the other side, call for Iran to play a major but positive role in the region. On Syria in particular, to encourage the regime to participate to what I called a Syrian-led transition, which has to be Syrian-led, but has to be a transition. And here I think we have all to invite all the parties that have an influence on the actors inside Libya to, in good faith and committed, inside Syria, I'm sorry, we have too many crises around, to play in good faith and in a responsible way their part in this Syrian-led transition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have to go.
Can I ask one question on Bosnia?
Sorry.
That's it.
Sorry, next time.
Okay.